20 or 30 or so years ago, we didn't have internet. We didn't have social media. We couldn't spread the word. Many didn't know about Thomas Sankara until later on we began to read about him. But now, on the day of his inauguration of a mausoleum about his death, it's somebody that is actually embodiment, him alive, Traoré. So we are celebrating, inaugurating a mausoleum of someone who was assassinated, but at the same time, he's resurrected through a new president. And that new president is actually has the ear and the eyes of the world. So it's even at a greater level. And because of what happened to Thomas Sankara, and because of the love that we have for what he did, and now for what Traoré is doing, President Traoré is doing, we're now mobilizing and saying never again. So we're not only just honoring him, but we're honoring and remembering what happened. And when we remember what happened, we say, we're not going to allow it to happen again. Yeah, well, it's always appreciation for people of high standing to honor someone like Thomas Sankara. So that's what we saw today. But beyond the symbolism, I want them to go back to their countries and represent the actions of Thomas Sankara the same way President Ibrahim Traoré is representing those actions. So it's an honor. It's great to see big people honor a great man, but now carry on that legacy. All the people will rise and carry it on without you.
You are the leader of the Afro-descendant Union. Are you linked? Do you have a link between this union and the idol of Thomas Sankara? Are you discussing from time to time?
We're following his idea of self-determination. We're engaged in promotion of what's called Black Summer, where we're rising up in America to declare our independence, to stop the internal colonization of Black people in America via our right of self-determination. So we're following the legacy and getting inspiration from Thomas Sankara. But today, just some weeks ago, we were all marching and standing up for the new Thomas Sankara, President Ibrahim Traoré. So the legacy is alive and well in America, and we're following that example, and we're going to see it through to victory.
Okay. Ibrahim, what the main challenge of the youth today to support the second phase of 83 revolution, I can call it so, the revolution of Ibrahim Traoré? What's the challenge and what's the task of the youth in this specific period of history?
Okay, this is a good question. You know, today there are some advantages the youth have, and which did not exist in the time of Thomas Sankara. Today there are social media, the youth is awakened, there are radio stations everywhere, there are television everywhere, so the youth can communicate easily. When something happened today in Ouagadougou, 5 minutes later, you have information in the villages. So this is an advantage for the youth. So I want the youth to take the social media as a weapon to defend Captain Traoré. I want the youth to use the media to protect Captain Traoré, to raise the awareness of the people, to organize awareness raising campaign in all the villages in Burkina Faso and in Africa to talk about the revolution, to promote the revolution. And I want this revolution to be duplicated in all the countries of Africa.
Yes. Because
in the time of Thomas Sankara, he was alone. He was alone, facing everybody. So now there is Mali, there is Niger, there is Burkina Faso, and in the time of Thomas Sankara, there were no social media. You couldn't call someone. There were no smartphone. So all these are tools available for the youth to embark on a fight to protect the president, to develop the country, to work hard.
Okay, let me remind the reason why this date has been chosen for the unveiling ceremony of the mausoleum. As a reminder, Thomas Sankara's arrest on 17th May 1983 was a pivotal moment in the modern history of Burkina Faso, then called Après Volta. At the time, Thomas Sankara was serving as Prime Minister under President Jean-Baptiste Ouedraogo, but tensions were already high due to the Sankara's growing popularity, his revolutionary rhetoric, and his alignment with progressive and leftist ideologies. And Sankara has been appointed Prime Minister in January 1983, but quickly emerged as a charismatic figure with a strong anti-imperialist views. His influence, especially among the youth and the military, began to overshadow President Jean-Baptiste Ouedraogo, France and Cote d'Ivoire, which were wary of Sankara's revolutionary leaning, believed to have influenced Ouedraogo's decision to arrest Sankara. Sankara's increasing criticism on neocolonialism and the privilege of the ruling elite alarmed the conservative element in power. And then on 17th May 1983, he was arrested along with other progressive officers, including Captain Ibrahim Traoré, sparking national and international outrage. The arrest provoked massive protests, particularly among the students and workers. Among the students and workers, the slogan "Where is Sankara?" became a Okay. Now we know now the choice of this date to celebrate or to inaugurate, to unveil the mausoleum Thomas Sankara. Ibrahim Traoré. Did you know this history?
Yeah, I have been reading about Thomas Sankara since my high school days when I was still a pupil in secondary school. So what I know on the basis of history is that the Prime Minister Sankara and Jean-Baptiste Ouedraogo were ruling the country together, but there were difficulties, there were misunderstandings because they didn't share the same ideology. And as you said, Thomas Sankara was from the left wing, and Jean-Baptiste Ouedraogo was in the right hand. So it was difficult for them to have a common vision for the country. So finally, this arrest happened. It was a plot organized by Western countries because Jean-Baptiste Ouedraogo was said to be pro-imperialist and Thomas Sankara was anti-imperialist. So this is the reason why there was an arrest of Thomas Sankara on May 17th, 1983.
Okay. Yunus, soon you will be back at the United States. How will you move back? What is the image of Burkina Faso with which you will move back?
Well, of course, I'm going back first to Egypt. We're doing some things in Egypt. We're going back to the United States. We're inspired by what has been going on currently with the Sahel states and President Ibrahim Traoré. The legacy of Thomas Sankara has been there amongst us, the revolutionaries of America. But now the new inspiration. So we're going back with new inspiration as we embark upon what we call Black Summer. And we want that to happen all over Africa, where we're rising up to declare independence in America as Black folks. Black people and Black people in Africa. Africans must stand up and declare their total independence and enjoyment of self-determination, just like President Ibrahim Traoré, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger are doing. So we're doing the same thing in America. I'm going back to America with extra inspiration from what's going on here, and we're going to do the same thing, stand up courageously, just like the presidents of these nations here in the Sahel region.
Thank you both, Ibrahim. Thank you, Yunus, for coming to this live show on the unveiling ceremony of Mausoleum Thomas Sankara. Thank you for your participation. See you next time.
The assassination of Thomas Sankara in 1987 marked the physical end of Burkina Faso's revolutionary leader. But as his famous prophecy foretold, his ideas have birthed thousands of Sankaras across continents. In a recent interview on Burkina Faso's national television, Afro-descendant activists Ramzu Yunus and Ibrahim Traoré, a figure linked to the current administration, dissected Sankara's enduring influence and its manifestation in today's geopolitical struggles from Ouagadougou to Ohio. Sankara's imperialist ethos and radical reforms, land distribution, gender equality, and economic sovereignty remain a blueprint for resistance. President Ibrahim Traoré's rise amid Burkina Faso's ongoing security crisis and rupture with France is framed as the second phase of Sankara's revolution. Yunus draws a direct lineage. Captain Traoré's revolution is the son of Sankara's revolution. This continuity is symbolic and strategic. Traoré's alignment with Mali and Niger in the Alliance of Sahel States, AES, coupled with his rhetoric against neocolonialism, mirrors Sankara's defiance of Western hegemony in the 1980s. The unveiling of the Thomas Sankara Museum on May 17th, a date marking Sankara's 1983 arrest, serves as both a memorial and a rallying cry. Yunus emphasizes that Sankara's legacy is not confined to history. He is dead, but not finished. The museum's inauguration, attended by global dignitaries, underscores Burkina Faso's pivot toward Pan-African solidarity, positioning itself as a node in a broader network of resistance. A critical divergence from Sankara's era lies in the tools of mobilization. Yunus highlights social media's role in amplifying Traoré's agenda and safeguarding his leadership from external interference. The youth must weaponize social media, reflecting how digital platforms now transcend borders to organize movements like Black Summer, a US-based campaign advocating for Black self-determination and economic autonomy. This digital thread ties Burkina Faso's Sahelian struggle to African diasporic communities, creating a feedback loop of inspiration. Yunus, leader of the Afro-descendant Union, explicitly links Sankara's vision to Black liberation in America. We are all Thomas Sankara. His call for internal decolonization in the U.S. paralleled Traoré's expulsion of French troops and rejection of the CFA franc. Both movements frame sovereignty as non-negotiable, a theme resonating globally as global South nations recalibrate alliances away from traditional Western patrons. Yet, revolutions are fraught with contradictions. Sankara's downfall, orchestrated by internal elites and external powers, looms as a cautionary tale. Traoré's government, while popular domestically, faces immense pressure. Jihadist insurgencies, economic fragility, and diplomatic isolation from ECOWAS. Yunus acknowledges these hurdles, but insists that modern connectivity mitigates past vulnerabilities. In Sankara's time, he was alone. Now we have thousands, he asserts, pointing to transnational networks that amplify Burkina Faso's voice. The interview also exposes fissures in the Pan-African project. While Burkina Faso garners symbolic support, Yunus challenges African leaders to move beyond honoring Sankara to enacting his policies, land reform, education, equity, and dismantling neo-colonial economic structures. Without material action, Sankara's museum risks becoming a relic rather than a catalyst. Burkina Faso's revolution under Traoré is no longer an isolated experiment. It is part of a rising axis stretching from the Sahel to the Americas, united by a rejection of extractive imperialism and reclamation of agency. Sankara's prophecy thrives not through individual leaders, but through decentralized, interconnected movements wielding both hashtags and grassroots organizing. As Yunus returns to the United States invigorated, the question lingers. Can this new phase of Sankarism withstand the tides of counter-revolution? Can this new phase of Sankarism withstand the tides of counter-revolution? The answer may lie in whether its champions can transform viral fervor into sustained structural change, a task as daunting as it is necessary. For now, Sankara's sun continues to rise, illuminating a path shrouded in oppression.